Okay, we're gonna get this out of the way. Just because you go on a date, it does not mean that you have sex. There, I said it. However, when you go on your date, you do need to have a moment where you have a physical connection. It's important. Now that might mean that you spend 15 minutes cuddling on the couch. So if I asked you to take a road trip from where you're at to, let's say, California, could you get there? Probably, right? You could get in your car, jump on the interstate, head south, or for me it'd be west. And at some point you'd end up in California, probably. But the best thing to do if you want to end up in California is to do what? Get a map, right? Open your road map up, get your phone out with your GPS and say, okay, let me create an intentional plan for how to get from where I'm at to where I want to be. Just makes sense, right? Well, the same is true for emotional and sexual intimacy in our marriage. You can get to intimacy accidentally without even trying, kind of fall backwards into it, but you're way better off if you develop a plan to be intentional about cultivating emotional and sexual intimacy in your marriage. So that being said, I'm gonna give you a start to your roadmap to intimacy. Here we go. Number one, you've got to connect 15 minutes every day with your spouse. This is non-negotiable. You cannot hedge on this. You can't let this fall by the wayside. You've got to connect 15 minutes one-on-one, mano a mano with your spouse. Now, when you do this, there's some things I want you to think about incorporating into that time. Number one, you've got to have some focus on emotional connection, right? So look at each other in the eyes, like share a positive thought or a feeling or an affirmation with somebody. Like that's a healthy thing to be able to just share that emotional moment every day, right? But I also want you to incorporate some sort of spirituality into this. It doesn't have to be long. There are quiet times for couples. I give them out at my office all the time. It literally will take you 5 minutes. You read it, you pray quickly, and it's done. And guys, it's incredibly important. There also needs to be a physical component to this. Don't freak out, okay? It's okay. I'm not saying you have to have sex every day with your spouse in 15 minutes. What I am saying is you need to have like 20 seconds where you're gonna kiss them, kiss your spouse, your wife, your husband, right? You need 5 to 10 seconds where you're just gonna give them a nice hug. We've gotta have that physical connection every day. All right, so those are your daily commitments for your roadmap. Now, secondly, you're gonna have some weekly commitments. You ready? You got a date. You've got to go on dates with your spouse. You're not gonna be emotionally connected, sexually connected, if you're not taking the time out to spend time with your spouse. Okay, we're gonna get this out of the way. Just because you go on a date, it does not mean that you have sex. There, I said it. However, when you go on your date, you do need to have a moment where you have a physical connection. It's important. Now that might mean that you spend 15 minutes cuddling on the couch, but there's gotta be a moment when you remember that there's something special about this relationship and we're gonna devote some time to it physically on our date night. So that's your weekly commitment. Now we're gonna go to a monthly commitment. I call the monthly commitment, I want you to just have like a special date, like an extended period of time. My wife and I can go grab dinner on a date night and we can do it in an hour and a half and get it done and really connect and it can be good. But man, once a month, you need to take an extended period of time where you don't have a bunch of distractions and a bunch of kids coming at you and people calling you on the phone and your job coming at you, where you can just do something really special with your spouse. Like maybe you go on a hike, or maybe you go on a little kayak trip with your spouse. My wife and I, we do something funny. We go to the special mall. Like we've got a regular mall that's close to our house, but then we got a special mall, and that's like an hour away, and we go, we drive there, and we talk, and we have lunch, and then we shop around a little bit, and we do this like once a month, and it's super fun, and it helps us connect. All right, now you've got one more piece to your emotional sexual roadmap. You ready? This is a quarterly commitment, and you can do it. It's a quarterly commitment. Every quarter, I want you to get away and take like an entire day and a night just with your spouse. I know this is hard, and some of you are coming up with all the reasons why it will never happen. It could never happen, Mike, because we can't afford it. Well, yeah, you can. Have somebody take your kids and stay home. But it needs to be a special moment where you're saying, we're gonna spend like 24 hours together. My wife and I did not do this for years. Life crowded in. We had all these kids. We felt like it was just impossible, but we did it one time. This was several years ago. We just said, we're gonna do this. And I'm telling you guys, it revolutionized the ability for us to feel that sense of emotional and sexual connection, to just have that sheer amount of time together with each other one-on-one. So there you have it. You want to have a healthy marriage? Follow your roadmap for emotional and sexual intimacy.